This is the weekly review for the week of December 5th to December 9th, as well as this week's Sunday preparation. So, coming into the week, I was anticipating a bullish week where we are going to take out previous week's high. Um, that didn't turn out to be the case. We ended up having a bearish week. So, I was looking on Monday to see some type of potential bullish raid with maybe Friday's low. So that's what I initially came into the week looking for. So starting on Monday, we had a very heavy day, and I didn't do really anything on Monday because there was nothing to take advantage of in terms of raids. But the one thing that I did note was the fact of how heavy price was. So if we look at the 12 a.m. price, we never really had a Judas swing above it. And the same thing with the 8:30 price. I'm on the M4 here. Go back to the M5. Um, so what I noted down in my journal for Monday was that due to the lack of a Judas swing above the 12 a.m. price and again above the 8:30 a.m. price, coming into the 9:30 open, we should anticipate price being extremely bearish, and the drawn liquidity for me should have been Friday's low. And due to the lack of those two Judas swings is why we didn't see any significant bullish displacement up to take buy side liquidity before moving down. We really just ended up trading back into these inefficiencies and then trading down, trading back up into the inefficiency and trading down without taking any buy side. Um, so that was the main lesson that I took um, from Monday's trading. So coming into Tuesday, I was still looking for some type of bullish price action, and I noted how we had a SMT with Friday's low. That's what I was looking at the end of the day on Monday, and I noted in my journal that night that and on Tuesday I was going to see if we had any bullish displacement from off of Friday's low since we had that SMT, and we never got any bullish displacement off of Friday's low. So coming into Monday or Tuesday's trading, I was looking for previous day's low to be traded to, and then I was going to watch to see if we had any bullish displacement off of previous day's low and potentially have a low of the week on Tuesday before trading up. So I was watching for bearish price action on AM session Tuesday, and we did have a setup here with a failure swing of London high and Asia high. Um, S&P had these equal highs here. NAS took them. S&P didn't. And then we broke market structure down. Nice displacement, but the reason I didn't really feel comfortable taking this was just because we had a ton of consolidation here, and these fair value gaps weren't layered. So this is a M15 fair value gap, but here on the M5 and all the way down to the M1, there was no fair value gap there. This was really just a M15 fair value gap. Um, and the same thing with these other ones, just very small fair value gaps. So that coupled with the consolidation is why I just watched this live and I didn't set any limits. Um, but then once we took out previous day's low here, initially, as I said, I was going to see if we had a bullish displacement up. But then I noted we had a US 30 SMT. And because we had that bearish SMT, and no bullish SMT forming with previous day's low, I started to look for a short entry um, on this institutional order flow entry drill, and we never returned back up to premium, of course, and we just ended up trading lower. So once we started trading lower, I was noting these equal lows and previous week's low, which were these ones right here. These equal lows, and then this was previous week's low. And this is the move down here on Tuesday. So I was seeing if I could potentially get an institutional order flow entry drill in premium on this move down, but we didn't get anything. So then coming into the PM session here, starting at 1 p.m. here, I was watching to see if we got any displacement off of previous week's low for a potential long, because I saw we had a SMT. Now initially we had a SMT with this low like that, and I was watching this displacement up, but this fair value gap wasn't in premium, or discount I should say, right? So that does not meet the criteria for a long, and that saved me a loss here, and price ended up rolling over. And then we had another setup here. Now I wasn't at the charts for this setup, and on the M5 time frame it doesn't look super clean, but we took previous week's low SMT, and the time of day is now 2:30 p.m. The entry at 3:15ish, right? So just based off of the daily power 3, right, price should, if this is the low of the day, we should retrace back up into the daily range for the close, right? Just based off of the daily candle structure, plus we rated significant liquidity with an SMT. Now, if you just go down to like the lower time frames, the displacement up was a lot cleaner in terms of a big impulsive candle breaking market structure. So when I went back and reviewed this trade, I think this should have been a valid trade if I had been watching this live. And the fair value gap here was also a multiple time frame, so M5 all the way down to the M1 had a fair value gap here. The reason when I initially reviewed the day, I said I wouldn't have taken this was just because on the M5, it doesn't look super clean with this candle breaking market structure. If this candle had closed all the way up here, I would have really liked it. But if I had just gone down on the lower time frames, the break in market structure would have been much cleaner. And again, all of the other confluence with the raids and the daily power 3. So I think I should have definitely taken this trade if I had been at or on the charts at that time. So at the end of Tuesday is when I started to shift my bias away from bullish, because on the daily chart we closed, we violated this daily fair value gap. So this is Monday's trading, Tuesday's trading. We violated the daily fair value gap, and now we violated this daily bullish order block on Tuesday. So we're starting to not respect daily bullish PD arrays, where all on this move up we were respecting daily bullish PD arrays. So that's why coming into Wednesday's trading, I was more so favoring shorts. So prior to the New York session, I saw that we had this potential market maker buy model coupled with a raid of previous day's low. So I thought that the 9:30 open was going to take out these highs. There was no clear bullish entry for me. The only one that I noted was this fair value gap here in discount, this fair value gap was not in discount of any range, so it was really only this one right here. But this wasn't super clear to me, so I was really just waiting to see if we took the original consolidation highs, the equal highs here, and then formed a bearish setup. And we did end up doing that here, and I was watching this live, but we never got a clear break in market structure, nor did we have an SMT with this high here at 935. So this trade ended up playing out. I just marked it live, but I never set limits for it. But it did hit the 1.3 R. And then we had a second price reversed and took out this high, and then we had this SMT here. And price in the PM session ended up coming up into premium, into this fair value gap, multiple time frame inefficiency. Now, I didn't take this. Looking back, I should have taken this trade because everything was there for it. We had the clear displacement down with SMT, and the higher time frame bias due to the daily PD arrays being violated was indicating bearishness. So this setup and this institutional order flow entry drill I should have taken because they were in line with the higher time frame bias for the week. So coming into Thursday, I was continuing with my bearish bias, and I was looking for a raid of previous day's high, since at around 8 o'clock ish when I start to get on the charts, I saw we were pretty close to previous day's high. I saw these equal lows down here, so I was anticipating price to raid previous day's high and form a setup, and that's what ended up happening here. See if the executions end up showing. So I ended up taking a loss on this trade. This is not, there's a lot going on the chart here. I don't like that. So this is the fair value gap I shorted. Now, we didn't have a SMT with previous day's high, which I didn't like, but everything else in terms of confluences lined up. Higher time frame bias, equal lows, nice displacement down. So I got in here, and one of the errors that I made was that I used a market order, and when I put my stop loss, it was like a couple points above. So usually I'll just put it a point above the high. So the high is at 8 points. So I'll usually put it at 8.1. But because I used a market order, my stop loss was a little bit higher, and thus the 1.3 RTP was a little bit lower. And that's why price literally came down to my TP. It got swerved and then stopped me out. So when I was looking back at this trade on Thursday night, reviewing the daily price action, I noted that even if I got in at a perfect entry here, I may still have not been able to get out, because the low that price made here at, what is it, 34.4 is literally at 1.3 R. And due to spread, I don't think that I would have been able to get out of that trade anyway. So even if I got into this perfectly, I probably still would have been stopped out. But nonetheless, I'm not. Everything in this trade, and we had this lower time frame SMT here. Everything in this trade was fine for me. I didn't really break any rules. But it just turned out that this was a Judas swing down, and we had ended up forming a bullish SMT with London low, with NASDAQ, and we never took out the equal lows where NAS took out its equal lows, and we ended up going higher. So at this point, after we had this displacement up, I switched my bias to bullish, and the reason was that this was right here where I got stopped out, this 9 a.m. candle. I was looking at, we had that previous day's high raid. I shorted it, but that failed to take price lower. So because now we had this bullish displacement up, breaking market structure with bullish SMT, I was thinking that price wanted to dig up deeper into this range here, right? Still, my overall higher time frame bias is bearish, but because this previous day high raid failed to send price lower and we instead displaced higher, I was thinking that we wanted to dig deeper into this premium, and we had a multiple time frame inefficiency here on H1 to daily. So price could come up, dig up deeper here before rolling over, which is why I started looking for a buy on the retracement down here. And my entry, this entry right here got swerved by a few points. So my exit here got swerved, got stopped out, and now my entry here that if I had gotten a fill, it would have hit take profit. This one got swerved. Now, the reason I noted this entry as well is because this entry was just based on the M5 fair value gap. We had discount here, and usually I place the limit at the 50%, but there was no fair value gap on M5 at the 50%. So that's why I placed the limit at the low of this candle, the beginning of the M5 fair value gap. But if I had flipped over to the M15 time frame, there would have, or I would have seen that we had a M15 fair value gap from here to here, and that fair value gap would have been right at the mean threshold. So that I could have then set my limit at the mean threshold, and if I did that, that trade would have hit TP here in the PM session. So that's just one of the things that I noted, because usually I just have the M5 chart open at work and I just kind of glance over at it. I'm not really flipping through a ton of the time frames since I'm focused on doing my regular job. So that's just something I noted that I missed. So in the PM session, I was seeing what price wanted to do, and I noted that lunch gave a bullish SMT with this short-term low, and I was watching this displacement up. We came down, we swerved discount here. I didn't have a limit set here, and I wasn't planning on it. I just wasn't too sure. But once I saw this displacement up, I said, okay, I'm going to look for a institutional order flow entry drill for the AM session high. That never occurred. My limits got swerved here, and we took out the AM session high. And initially, I was thinking about chasing this, and on this retracement down, setting a limit here and buying. But I stopped myself from doing that because we had that SMT, and that was a good thing because we ended up breaking market structure down. And one of the things that another thing that I noted in my journal for this day was that this move down was not a retracement to send price higher. Like this move down was a retracement to send price higher. Why? Because we didn't have a SMT here, or at least a high time frame SMT, right? No high time frame SMT with previous day's high. So that was a retracement, not a short. We had a high time frame SMT here with the AM session high. So we shouldn't view this as a retracement to go higher, and most likely it'll break market structure and go lower. So that's why I ended up getting in here on a short. But price just started consolidating. So at, was that 16? So this is 4 p.m., the end of the session. So I saw that price was not really going anywhere, so I just closed the trade at break even here. And that was pretty much the end of the week, because Friday nothing significant really happened. We took previous day's high, but we didn't have any SMT. And then 8:30 we had high impact news. I think this was PPI numbers. And then we were pretty much stuck between, we had a short-term SMT here. We took previous day's high, but then we had a bullish SMT here. So price was stuck between two raids, and that's just low probability trading. I was potentially eyeing for a short-term little scalp, like a couple points into this low resistance liquidity run. But there was nothing really clean in price action. We just kind of like chopped all the way up and then ended up reversing. So there was nothing clean that I saw in here to execute on. So in terms of next week, there's probably not going to be a lot of trading next week, because we just have crazy manipulative high impact news, CPI on Tuesday, and then FOMC on Wednesday, and then other high impact news on Thursday and Friday. So Tuesday through Friday we have high impact news, and Monday may just consolidate before CPI numbers. But still, even if it depends on the type of consolidation that we get, some consolidation days you can take advantage of a play, but other consolidation days there's just literally nothing that sets up. So Tuesday and Wednesday are definitely no trade days, because that's where we have the CPI and FOMC. So really it's just Monday and then maybe Thursday and Friday, but Thursday is probably going to consolidate after the large move of Wednesday's FOMC. So there's probably not going to be much trading going on this week, which sucks because I kind of have a clearer bias of what price wants to do now. So because we violated these daily bullish PD arrays, I'm leaning more so bearish, but I'm also keeping in mind that we could just be retracing into this weekly range from that range low to that range high, and that's where this 50% is. Also coming back into this weekly order block, and then also we have this daily fair value gap and daily order block here. So I don't know if this is the high and now we're going to switch bearish and take out this low, or this is just a retracement here to go higher. Regardless of what we do, I'm pretty confident that price is going to dip down into this discount on the weekly time frame. So at least as the charts stand right now. Now, obviously, with CPI and FOMC, anything can happen. But just from purely looking what could happen, based on all the price action we have now, it looks pretty clear that price wants to come down here. And then whatever happens here, whether we break lower or reverse up, who knows? So I just noted the liquidity, the nearby liquidity, where we have these equal lows, previous week's low, previous week's high, and these equal highs up here. So on Monday, hopefully we can maybe get some type of setup to take previous week's low. We're in some sort of consolidation here anyway. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not anticipating a lot to happen this week. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening.